Do you ever wonder how things move and how they remain motionless?
This man is extremely genius that he is able to discover the science of how things move even before his 30s.
Not only that, he is also able to accurately predict how an object will move under different circumstances. Sir Isaac Newton is a renowned scientist who discovered the 3 laws of motion back in the 17th century, and it turns out that these 3 laws hold true for almost anything, even in our lifestyle, sports, leisure, and business now in the 20th century.
Newton's first law of motion states that an object will remain at rest or in motion, unless acted upon by an outside force to make it move or to make it stop.
In this video, Skylar hails a tricycle to go to the mall. Based on Newton's law of inertia, while the tricycle is moving, it will not stop unless another force intervenes to slow down and stop it.
Because the driver knows the potential dangers of abruptly stopping the tricycle when the passenger, Skylar's destination, gets near, the driver exerts internal force on the wheels by applying the brakes gradually to slow the transport vehicle down, so they will reach the destination safely.
In this video, Rendell took a dirty floor mat and beat it against the wall.
According to Newton's law of inertia, the mat at rest will continue to accumulate dust if she will not act on it. And because Rendell could not stand the dirt, an external force is applied on the mat. With Newton's law of inertia applied in doing household chores, the mat gets cleaned.
In this video, Mr. Ogawili and his employees play golf at the country club. Based on the law of inertia, the golf ball will stay at rest and won't roll on its own into the hole without an outside force acting to it. Though the ball is round and capable of rolling, through the law of inertia, the players knew that they need to apply the necessary force on the ball so it could push the ball towards the hole. The players applied an external force and hit it using the golf club. Thanks to Newton's first law, golf players are able to strategize and predict the movement of the golf ball into their advantage. In this video, there are youngsters riding a skateboard for fun. Based on Newton's law of inertia, when riding a skateboard, it will not stop unless another force intervenes to slow down and stop it.
Because of Newton's law, riders become aware of the risks and they prepare themselves by wearing protective gears in case they fly away from the board when they got a sidewalk, rock, or anything else that suddenly stops the skateboard from moving. Newton's second law of motion, or law of acceleration, states that the more the force exerted, by its weight and the speed at which it is traveling,
the greater the mass and the faster the speed, the more force the object possesses. In this video, the man is pushing his junk shop cart along the streets for scraps.
He only uses a little force when pushing an empty cart.
But as he picks up scraps along the way, it gets harder to push. This is due to the relation of the cart's mass, the force applied to the cart, and the acceleration produced. Since mass is inversely proportional with acceleration, the loaded cart tends to move slower than an empty cart. In this video, Skylar is riding a bike around the lake. He pushes on the pedals in order for the tires to move. Based on Newton's law of acceleration, the more force is exerted, the more acceleration is produced. But because Skylar enjoys the view, he prefers a slower speed. Thanks to Newton, he is able to keep it slow by not exerting more force on the pedals. In this video, as calls, the Philippine football team is playing soccer with their opponent, Team Guam. Based on Newton's law of acceleration, the soccer ball is expected to travel farther and faster with a hard kick, and the amount of force behind the kick determines how quickly the ball accelerates. Thanks to Newton's discovery, schools are able to strategize in this game as they exert great force in kicking the ball that it could not be blocked by their opponent and hit the goal successfully. In this video, Skylar is walking side by side with a government employee while filming this. The government employee gets ahead of him. Of the two of them, the one who weighs heavier walks slower because the acceleration of the one who weighs lighter is more. Because of Newton's second law, he realizes that he has to walk faster to keep up with the government employee assisting him with his concern. Newton's third law states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. As the Tahoe vendor walks on the video, his feet is pushing on the ground. He is applying backward force on the ground, and in turn, the ground applies a forward force in his feet, pushing him forward and making him move. There is an action and reaction. Action is our force on the ground, and reaction is the force of the ground on us. Thanks to Newton's discovery of the action-reaction forces, the Tahoe vendor could keep going and sell more with the help of the ground that pushes him forward, making move and walk some more. In this video, Brendel and Seed sits on their chairs at home. As per Newton's third law, when a person sits on a chair, there is an equal or opposite reaction. A body exerts downward force on the chair, and so does the chair, but in the upward direction. Newton's law is applied to ourselves when we sit on a chair. The force pushing us up helps us relax by allowing our bodies to stretch our lower muscles. The video shows a lady swimming in the pool. While she is in water, she pushes the water backwards, and the water pushes back the lady forward. And because Newton's law is applied on her while she is on the water, she is able to float and swim with the help of the two opposing forces. In this video, Seed jumps in the air to reach the basketball ring. According to Newton's third law, his feet touches the ground with a downward force. The ground pushes him up with an upward force, allowing him to jump in the air. In this video, people enjoy bouncing at a trampoline park. When they jump, their feet apply force to the trampoline, and the trampoline applies an equal and opposite forces that pushes them to the air. Thanks to Newton's third law, trampolines are invented. Jumping is made more fun, and now people are able to enjoy not just jumping but bouncing. Newton's three laws of motion are very important because it connects almost everything we see in everyday life. Positive effects. 1. His discovery paved the way to many different inventions that involves motion. 2. His legacy allowed us to accurately predict how an object will move under different circumstances. 3. People do not stop at predicting. Instead, we proactively respond or react to it into our advantage, may it be in business, lifestyle, sports, or leisure. While we have a lot of positive effects brought about by the three laws of motion, there is just one negative effect that we can think of. Criminals may abuse Newton's discovery and use it against other people to their advantage. And so, before we end this video, we must give all the credits to Sir Isaac Newton for bringing the three laws of motion to the world.